Yeah. This sunny days 305, what it is, what it do. Grand rising, love rising, peace rising to the family. What's up? To all my family out there, all my brothers and sisters, all my kings and queens. To all of us that don't know that we are kings and queens, I'm here to tell you that you are. Blessing to you, big up to you always. As always, we hoping God is covering you and covering your family, as he always have been doing. So I want to get right into it. Just some random thoughts about the Martin Luther King Parade, about Martin Luther King, about his dream. Do anybody really know what Martin Luther King was on? Do you think that they killed him because he did the "I Had a Dream" speech? So we want to talk about some random things about Dr. Martin Luther King, but more specifically, when we want to talk about the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade that took place last Monday. I had the opportunity, myself and the Circle of Brotherhood, we had an opportunity to be very instrumental in the parade this year. It was awesome. And I want some of my people to come on because I want to talk about it. The parade was safe. It was a safe space. Last year, it was a safe space. But this year, we had so much security out there to make sure that it was a safe space for us and our children to come out and have a good time. It's my desire for us to take back ownership of our parade and start back coming out. You know, while we had a lot of people that came out and a lot of people that was there, it really wasn't as crowded. It probably was more crowded last year. So for some of my people that did not go to the parade, you know, let's talk about it. Why didn't you go? Did you think something was going to happen? Did you think it was going to get rowdy? You know, because it was, man, I tell you, it was so many police present, and they was on the outskirts. They wasn't intermingling in the crowd unless it was time to. They had at least 50 police on bicycles. They had a lot of undercover. They had it probably was more police there than people, which I think is a good thing, because we had stopped coming out because of the violence a few years, like a little bit before COVID came out. Man, it was a murder that was going on out there. And so our people, they were scared to come out because the space wasn't safe. So I'm just here to say, like, the Martin Luther King Parade is safe now for us to come out. You know. And about Dr. Martin Luther King, anybody got any comments about Dr. Martin Luther King? About his speech? You know, about his character, about his thoughts in his last days, or even what led up to him getting assassinated. The Circle of Brotherhood, we did we did something really, really historical. This Martin Luther King Parade, we brought down, or our brother Ed Haynes. He brought down our brothers from, excuse me. He brought some brothers down from California. Baptist preacher out of Jacksonville. He brought another preacher out of South Central LA. He brought Brother Tony Muhammad down from LA, the one that was instrumental in bringing the gangs together in LA. And he also brought Minister Rizza Islam, the social media phenom, who's leading a lot of our people. And so we want to talk about it. Just some random thoughts. Man, it was a beautiful thing, man. Our babies came out. It was a lot of people that came out, but just in comparison to years past, and the crowds that we used to have our Dr. Martin Luther King Parade used to be like the Orange Blossom Classic. How many of us remember the Orange Blossom Classic? They used to come down 7th Avenue. And standing room only. It was nowhere to stand. They had FAMU, that Marching 100 band. Man, they would come through there slinging them drums and all that stuff, and people would be all on the roof, and people would be everywhere. And it used to be so crowded, people didn't even have nowhere to stand. And all the high school bands would come and participate, you know. And so the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade, that's our parade. You know, that's our classic. You know, and it is my desire, along with the Circle of Brotherhood, that on next year we start advertising a little early, so that our people can come out and enjoy themselves. You know, it wasn't last year. It was a lot of young brothers and sisters. They was out on the park. Real young, you know, and they were flapping off at the mouth a little bit last year, but it really didn't amount to nothing. But this year was peaceful, and also Pure Funk. They set up close to 53rd and 32nd. Boulder Lover brought out, he called it half 100 cabinets, you know, and that kind of remind me of that Sugar Hill Rolling Rush. When Uncle Al was set up on 71st and 15th and bring that wall out, and then people would come out from miles and miles around, you know, from Dave, from Broward, all over they would come. We would come on 15, they'd be jamming. And it'd be cool, you know. It was a safe space. So, you know, shout out to Pure Funk DJs and Boulder Lover. Our old school DJ, one of our pioneers, almost one of the last ones standing, one of the last ones that's still in the game. That was nice, you know. And so all our high school band and the beautiful floats, and you know, all of that stuff that went on the parade, it was just a wonderful thing. And so the Circle of Brotherhood, when we go to the parade, and we had our little, you know, we had a float also, but we had our little convoy out there. You know what I mean? And the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade is so important to us, because what we do during the parade, we pass out our palm cards. Because the day after the parade, we have our all men's meeting. And we pass out so many palm cards because we make a special call for all men to come to our meeting the day right after Martin Luther King so we could talk about, you know, coming together. We invited men from the streets, men from all walks of life, you know, to come to our all men's meeting and talk about how we can save our children. Because we're putting a lock on the graveyard. When it comes to our children, the graveyard can't have our children. And so the men in our community that has been missing, you know, the men in our community that have been in the prison house, that has been released out of the prison house, you know what I mean? The men in our community that was in the community and escaped the graveyard and escaped the prison system, but they have street wisdom and street experiences. And a lot of times, like our children, a lot of them, they don't want to hear from preachers. All right? They don't want to hear from preachers. A lot of them, they don't want to hear from teachers. You know, a lot of our young boys, they're not afraid of the police. They not afraid of the feds. And some of them not even afraid of dying or getting killed or killing someone. And so oftentimes it takes those of us that done those lengthy prison sentences, you know what I mean, to put boots on the grounds and go out and talk to our young people. You know, it take those of us that was in the game that was smart enough to get out the game and didn't go to prison. You know, it's some youngsters they wanna hear that story about how to escape the game, you know, how to escape the prison house, how to escape the graveyard, you know, just those testimonies and that experience. When you share it, it could save the lives of our youngsters. And so we had a really, really good turnout of men that came out at our all men's meeting, you know, to try to help the Circle of Brotherhood solve our own community problems. And so before I go, I would like for a couple of people to come on the live and express how was the Martin Luther King Parade. And even if you are not from Miami, even if you from somewhere else and you experienced and you participated or went to the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade or did not go for some reason, man, I would love for you to share that with our audience. And as always, you know, they had the vendors out there at the Martin Luther King Park, you know, had some of that food that we've been missing. Them good old conch fritters and conch salad and all that type of stuff, which was really, really, really good, you know. I was in the parade, you know, my knees ain't like it used to be, so I was driving the truck up and down. But I tell you, the parade had a good feeling because like some of our brown skinned brothers was out there with their families, you know, and you know we ain't discriminating about nothing. You know, our brown skinned brothers, they in our community now, they family. And so a lot of them came out and supported us of the parade, and we enjoyed their presence. So we just give a few more minutes. Brother Ray, how you doing, my brother? How was the Martin Luther King Parade down there in Tampa, my brother? Was it crowded? How was it? Was it peaceful? It was really peaceful down here. It was nice. I loved it. The feeling was nice. Any of my Facebook friends went to the Martin Luther King Parade, and if you didn't, you know, why you didn't go? I mean, apart from working. Okay, well, whoever listened to this live a little later on, drop your comments in the chat. Some random thoughts about the Martin Luther King parade. Did you go? And if you did go, I mean, how was the experience? Was it peaceful? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you go down to the Dr. Martin Luther King Park, where the vendors was, and partook in some of that good food that they had? And if you didn't go out, what was the reason? Do you feel unsafe? Were you still thinking about some violence that happened before COVID? And so I'll leave with this. We're going to start early next year, the Circle of Brotherhood and the Peacemakers. And even if we have to knock on doors and let people know that, ask people to come back out to the parade, it's a safe space, it's a safe place for adults as well as our children. So we could try kind of get back, to that old religion, man, that old time stuff where we used to come out and get together and speak to each other and have a good time, So, hey, I thank y'all for listening. This Sunday Days 305, your random thoughts on Dr. Martin Luther King. And if you didn't come out this year, man, come out next year and enjoy your family and come out and see some people you ain't seen in a long time. I even had a sister call me out by my government. Hey, Albert Campbell. I look back, I say, that got to be a classmate or something. They called me by my government. I thought she was gonna say my Social Security number after that. I turned around, I thought I was back in school. So yeah, you can come out there and see some of the people that you ain't seen in a long time, some old time classmates. Also enjoy the Junkanoo. Junkanoo, they always there at the end of the parade setting it off. It was a lot of our young babies out there in high school. So it was a lot of high school bands out there. They were juking too. It was really nice. And the parade, it was long. A lot of people came to participate in the parade. So that was a blessing. So I just want to close this on random thoughts about MLK, and always thank God for covering us, looking after. They say God look after babies and fools, So if He look after babies and fools, He looking out for His chosen ones, which are also the babies and the fools, So until the next time we come on this sunny day, 305 Degrees podcast, live your best and your absolute blessed life. Peace.